Okay, so here's another installment of the 2008 Buick Enclave all-wheel drive transmission work. This is a busted 3.5 reverse wave plate, as is extremely typical. If you read on the internet, everybody has that same problem. So in mine, when the wave plate busted, this is the housing it sits on, and it's pretty typical. It chews up that housing pretty bad. So you need to replace this housing. That housing's just over $200. And there's other components that sit inside of this thing. There's a snap ring that retains a piston that moves up and down. And underneath it there's a big plate and a little spring retaining washer that the piston acts against. And that snap ring holds that piston down. Once that's out, you can pull that out. You can pull the spring washer, the washer with several little springs all the way around it. You pull that out, and then there's a whole base in there, and you actually have to grab it with pliers and just give it a little twist. It should slide right off, and then there's an O-ring right down here in this groove. Other than that, it all comes apart quite easy. On the back side here, there's a couple seals, and this is my new one, all built up already. But on the back side here, there's this big positioning sensor gear, is what I'll call it. There's a sensor on the case that picks up these spots and kind of gives the car's computer an idea of where the transmission is at and how fast it's turning. So yeah, you have to press that down right behind. There's this, and then there's this piece here. As you can see, it's got some black rubber on it. It's a seal. It's another sealed piston. This piece and this piece go onto here. So there's an O-ring here, and then this piece fits on top of that, and then this slides over top of this piece and is retained by a snap ring in there. Now there's supposed to be a little tab on there to hold this in position so this doesn't accidentally move, but mine broke off, and I'm a little too cheap to replace that because I'm already on a tight budget. So I'm hoping this won't turn. It seems rather tight, but here's hoping. So then there's just you have to press this in. Again, this plate back here, this piston has spring, another one of those washers with several springs on it that you have to push it all up against to get this snap ring in there. And then there's of course this little bearing goes on there. So that's one bunch of what the damage happened. Also, this is the transmission cover, and inside here I had noticed some damage around this face. So I had ordered a part, didn't really know what I ordered apparently, and I got what's called a piston. It's this piece right here. It's rubber sealed back, sits in there like so. It seats down in there, and then on top of that sits another one of these washers with several springs. And that sits on top of there, like that. You push that all down, and then this big snap ring is what holds it all in. So I had bought what I thought was the wrong part, but I decided to pull it out and check it anyways, and when I took it out, I found that it in fact was all chewed up. It was very damaged. A definite must replace. It was only I think $20 or $40. It's a rather cheap part. But what had happened is when the wave plate broke. Now the wave plate is in this housing right here with a stack of clutches. But when that wave plate broke, it allowed this whole unit to drop. And when that dropped, it rubbed against this piece here, and it caused all of that to spin, causing that whole piston to spin, and that's what caused that damage.